The sequence begins inside a dim oil-stained warehouse illuminated only by a few flickering bulbs overhead. The place echoes with the distant hum of machinery outside, a reminder of the blood and oil economy the entire story revolves around. Diana stands on the far end, arms crossed, her posture tense but decisive. She has just survived a confrontation with the cartel men who want her father's territory. Her hair is slightly messy, dust on her shoulders, breathing a little too fast from the adrenaline that still hasn't left her body. Juan enters quietly from the shadows, not announcing himself. He watches her for a few seconds before speaking, and this moment of silence is important. It shows how long he has been studying her, admiring her strength, yet standing at a distance. He's wearing that dark jacket he always uses during his undercover tasks, the collar slightly raised, a soft bruise on his cheek from an earlier clash. He finally says her name, Diana. She doesn't turn immediately. She's angry, mostly at her situation, partly at herself and a small part at him. But she answers without looking, her voice tight, "You shouldn't be here." The line is a clue. She doesn't want him involved because she knows what their connection could cost him. Juan walks closer. His boots crunch softly on the gravel-like floor. He stops only a meter behind her. He can see her shoulders trembling, not from fear, but from the weight of the disaster surrounding her life. He says softly, "You almost died out there." This time she turns, sharply. Her eyes glisten under the minimal light. "I've almost died 100 times in this business," she replies. That's not new. But Juan shakes his head. "Not like today. Today they were really coming for you." This exchange heats the air between them. Diana feels irritation, not at what he said, but at how deeply he understands her. She hates being vulnerable, yet he sees through her armor like no one else. She steps closer to him, challenging, "And what? You're here to save me now?" Juan doesn't flinch. "I'm here because I care," he says, too honestly, too quickly. Diana's breath catches for a second. She wasn't expecting that. Their eyes lock. The tension shifts from anger to something warmer, heavier. Juan takes a small step forward. Diana instinctively steps back. It looks like a dance, one step forward, one step back. Her lips part slightly, not knowing what to say. He tries again, not physically but emotionally, saying in a low tone, "You don't have to keep pushing everyone away." This hits her. The camera lingers on her face, showing cracks in the tough exterior. The audience can feel her internal conflict. She wants to stay cold, distant, but Juan's presence has always had a gravitational pull. He moves closer again, more carefully this time. She doesn't back away. Their breathing becomes synchronized, shallow but intense. You can practically feel the electricity in the scene, the kind of slow-burn tension where a kiss feels inevitable, yet both are terrified of crossing that line. Diana suddenly breaks. Not physically, but emotionally. "You don't understand," she mutters. "If they think you and I are anything, if they sense even a hint of weakness." Juan interrupts gently, "Loving someone isn't weakness." The line lands like a bomb. Diana's eyes widen slightly, her chest rising faster. For a second she looks away, trying to steady herself. She hates how much she needs him right now. She hates that the world they live in punishes love. Juan reaches out. Very slowly, he touches her wrist. It's the first physical contact. She doesn't pull away. Instead, she closes her eyes for a second, as if grounding herself through his touch. She whispers, "Juan, you shouldn't say things like that." But he steps fully into her space now, their bodies almost touching. "Why?" "Because it's true." Diana opens her eyes and meets his gaze. The camera tightens on their faces, showing the tiny details, the gloss clouding her eyes, the nervous breath escaping his mouth. He lifts his hand from her wrist to her cheek, brushing away a smudge of dirt left from the fight. His hand lingers there. She swallows. It's the first sign she's letting the emotional walls break. Her voice becomes softer. Juan, this will ruin everything. He answers, or save something. Their foreheads nearly touch now. Her lips tremble, not from fear but anticipation. Her hands, tense at her sides, finally rise and grip the lapels of his jacket. She doesn't pull him closer yet, but the intention is clear. Juan leans in a little. Diana's eyes flicker between his eyes and his lips. Her breath warms his cheek. The lighting casts a soft golden reflection on their faces. It's the calmest moment the film has given them so far. He waits, giving her the power to decide. She makes the choice. Diana closes the gap between them, pressing her lips to his in a slow, searching kiss. It's not desperate or rushed, it's controlled, emotional, almost shaky because of the weight behind it. Juan responds quickly but gently, one hand sliding behind her neck, the other around her waist. The kiss deepens, their bodies pulling closer until there is no more space between them. Her fingers tighten on his jacket, pulling him into her like she's been needing this for years but denying it out of fear. Now the kiss intensifies. Their breathing grows heavier. Her lips part slightly, allowing a more passionate rhythm. Their heads tilt naturally, bodies swaying into each other as if finding a natural fit. The camera circles them slowly, showing the mixture of vulnerability and hunger on both their faces. Juan moves his hand from her waist to the small of her back, pressing her closer. Diana wraps her arms around his neck, her fingers slipping into his hair. When she briefly breaks the kiss to breathe, her forehead rests against his, both of them panting softly. The pause only lasts a beat before she kisses him again, more urgently this time. This shift in intensity reflects her realization, she wants him. And she's tired of pretending otherwise. After a long, passionate exchange, they separate slowly, but their bodies remain close. Diana keeps her eyes closed for a moment, like she's afraid reality will hit too hard if she opens them. When she finally does, her eyes look softer, almost vulnerable. Juan brushes her cheek again and whispers, "You don't have to pretend with me." But Diana steps back, not coldly, but out of fear. "This changes everything," she says, almost whispering. "And not in a good way." Juan steps toward her, but she lifts her hand slightly, a signal to stop. Not rejection, just hesitation. Her breathing is unsteady. She's overwhelmed by emotions, by everything happening around them. Juan knows this and doesn't push her. Diana walks a few steps away, touching her lips as if reliving the kiss. She's struggling internally, between the part of her that wants to run into his arms again and the part that knows loving him puts both of their lives at risk. Juan watches her carefully, his chest rising with every breath. He seems ready to speak, but she finally turns around. Her voice is calmer now but still shaky. "Juan, don't make this harder than it already is." He replies softly, "I think it's already too late for that." Their eyes meet for a long, heavy moment. The romantic energy hasn't disappeared, it's thick in the air, lingering like smoke. Diana takes a deep breath, steps back toward him slowly, and places her hand on his chest. It's not intimate in a sexual sense, it's emotional. Her palm feels his heartbeat, and for a moment she closes her eyes again. She whispers, "If anything happens to you because of me." Juan gently holds her hand. "I know the risks," he says. "And I still choose you." This line freezes Diana. She takes another breath, then another. She looks up at him, eyes glistening again, but this time with affection rather than fear. She nods slightly, almost unnoticeably, but Juan sees it. Diana leans in again, but this time the kiss is softer, briefer, but more emotional. It's a kiss that says, "I care." A kiss that says, "I'm scared." A kiss that says, "I'm not ready to lose you." Juan cups her face gently while she kisses him, holding her like something precious. When she pulls back, she rests her forehead on his shoulder, and he wraps his arms around her quietly. This hug is tender, steady, grounding. She whispers into his chest, "Just, don't leave me alone in this." He